Health IQ Podcast, episode number 20, Beyond Thanks, Simple Practices for Daily Gratitude.
During the month of November, people post all over Facebook and Instagram things that they're grateful for, and they do, sometimes they do it like once a week, every day. And I got thinking, why do we wait for November to say what we're grateful for? And then I got to doing a little bit of research about how being more grateful can make our community and ourselves healthier if we learn to be more grateful. So I thought I'd share a little bit of that. It says here, practicing gratitude does not mean that we would deny the fact that there are negative things that happen in our lives, because there are, but it's how we intentionally search for and choose to focus on the more positive things. And if we are focusing on those positive things, that helps us psychologically, physically, and actually just our overall well-being once we learn to be grateful. But then I got worried because I do not like to share my feelings with anybody. I don't like to let people know how I feel. So then it's like, oh, do I have to open myself up? But, there's some good research. So the research tells us that if we learn to be grateful, that we would have more friends. It's easier to make friends.
Wow.
That we can improve our physical health because we will notice less aches and pains. Maybe lower our blood pressure because we're a little more grateful. And in general, we just get out and do stuff more because maybe we're less introverted or staying at home. It helps our psychological health. Being grateful helps us be more happy, fight depression, maybe even some anxiety things. We learn to be more empathetic, and it reduces aggression when we're grateful. Yeah. So that could help us maybe get a little along better with our kids. Who knows? And then it improves our sleeping habits. And how many people do we know that they go to bed and they're so stressed out from their day they can't sleep?
Yep.
Me. So this whole thing of practicing gratitude can help us with our sleeping habits. It can make us feel better about ourselves because we're not being so focused on those negative things. And it helps increase our mental strength. So when I read all that, I thought we got to learn to be more grateful as a community and as ourselves. And I do know that you all have some experience and how to be grateful. So I thought I'd turn it over to you and let you guys share with us some of the things that you notice about being grateful. Maybe Annie could start with. She was telling us earlier about a thing I had never heard of.
Yeah.
So I was on TikTok.
Not late in the night.
Not late in the night, in the middle of the night when I couldn't sleep because I was stressed out. But so it was talking about glimmers of gratitude, and a glimmer is like the opposite of a trigger because we talk about a lot. I feel like I see a lot of people talking about triggers. This triggers me. That triggers me. And while I probably have my own triggers, it's not your responsibility to tiptoe around my triggers. I need to be able to manage those better. And so I can change those triggers into glimmers of gratitude. And that's just simple, like recalling pleasant or joyful experiences or looking for little tiny bits of joy in any experience around you. And so those glimmers could be like seeing some pretty flowers and just stopping for a second and focusing on how pretty those are, or a sunset, a sunrise, even observing maybe a stranger being kind to another stranger, holding the door open for somebody, looking for those positive things, because I feel like we live kind of in a negative time, or it's easy to look for the negative things around us, and that just adds to our daily stress. So just look for those little things around you that are little glimmers of hope, little glimmers of kindness and happiness, and then just collect those, and makes you feel a little bit more grateful and happier and less stressed.
I think that's really a great thing to do.
I love that.
Yeah, me too.
And I think there's intention with that. Instead of just being kind of haphazardly going through your day and, hoping, hoping for the best, that you're intentionally looking for those good things that bring you joy. And there will be things even in a bad day. Another thing that people recommend to do is to keep a gratitude journal. And I know a lot of us think, well, that means I'm supposed to say, oh, I'm thankful that the sun rose today, or I'm
Dear
thankful
diary.
for my family, or, and you really need to be more specific. If you're thankful for your family, well, maybe I'm going to be thankful for my husband today because he goes to work every day if he wants to do that or not. Well, he used to. Now he stays home every day if I want him to or not. No, it's not. But, find those specific things that you can say, I'm thankful for this in this person, instead of just, I'm thankful for that person. Try to find like 5 things and be specific about those. Think about, well, what if I didn't have this person or this job or this family member or this friend or my pet? What would be missing in my life if they weren't there? And so again, it's just being really intentional. It's being specific about those things and how they interact with your life and with your health. And when you're doing that, when you're focusing more on positive things, and like Brenda said, it's not that there aren't negative things or there aren't bad things in your day. As Annie has said in the past, it's a bad moment. You can get past that and move forward. So that's one thing with journaling. Make sure that, and it's okay to write in there, so-and-so made me mad, or to share those negative feelings as well and get them out of your head. But you do need to find the things to be thankful for, and specifically why you're thankful for them.
Well, and sometimes on that, like, you might have like a bad experience, but it might lead to like a positive thing that you're like later, you might not realize it today, but later you might come back and be like, that bad, horrible thing happened, but like I also got to experience this, or it taught me, I wrote it down, I went through it, and I realized like it's okay because now I can appreciate this happening.
And I think that comes back to just the process. The process is a struggle. And, with kids, when we have them and we bring them home, we know that they're not just going to get up and start walking like 6 months down the road, that they have to get the muscle strength. They have to learn to get up on all 4s and roll over and sit up, and, and it's not easy. And they don't like it. They don't like being on their stomach so that they have to use their arms and pull up. But it's a process and it's a struggle. But the struggle leads to good things. Instead of just focusing on the struggle, it leads to good things.
Exactly.
So another recommendation for finding our thankfulness or our gratitude is a 5-minute meditation. And I think Joyce has talked about this in the past too, so what you do is you think of something you can see, something you can hear, something you can touch, something you can smell, and something you can taste. And it doesn't have to be all of those. It could just be one thing. And there doesn't have to be anything special going on for you to decide to do this. You can just be out and about and be sitting on a bench. I don't know. But so you want to anchor yourself with your breath and pay attention to your breathing, and just take a minute to think about that and how your posture even. And I notice a lot, I'm like, have my shoulders way up. It's a really bad habit. And if I just even take a breath and relax, you can, begin to feel more thankful right away that you're not feeling so tense. And then just start thinking in your mind of things that you've been grateful for. And you talk about glimmers. Maybe you could, that goes to either something in your mind in the past that's been good, or maybe something that you could see around you, a scent you might appreciate. I love walking down the laundry detergent aisle. I'm like, oh, this smells so clean. And then paying attention to the sounds around you and kind of tune into that. And then think of something touch, and it could be your pet. Maybe you pet your dog, or hug someone that you're with, or something to that nature. And then notice appreciating things around you, like, you know, looking at objects that someone has made, you know, maybe a painting on the wall, or something simple, or an object you use every day that you don't even pay attention to, that's important to you. And then as you end this, you just want to think about the people in your life, or the people maybe that you ran into today, or the people around you that you appreciate, and just thinking about, like, you're talking about journaling about that, but just thinking about those people and how much you appreciate them. And I think even difficult people, when you really, you know, and there's been difficult people in all of our lives, you can think of something about them that you can appreciate, you know. And I was thinking, I had a grandmother, she's gone now, she was kind of hard, but she had made the best cherry pie in the world. And you know, when I think of that, I can appreciate her and love that about her. So, and then you just kind of close with that, you know, centering on gratitude and really letting that soak in.
That's sort of like a meditation process.
Right, it is. Yeah.
I really like going off of that, but like then you talking about being grateful and being specific. Like, I think it's so important when you're just like, well, I'm just grateful for my family. Like, you're like trying to get in this positive space. I'm grateful for my family. Well, if you're not specific, like, I am grateful that my husband can like manage our kids without me for an entire day, without calling me to ask me, you know, where everything is or what he needs to do. Like, that is something I am grateful for, because then it allows me to go to work and get things done, or go do whatever I need to do, because I don't have to worry about what's going on at home, because he's got it handled. Like, I am grateful for that specific thing. And it's just important to break it down into specific things that you're grateful for.
Yeah.
And then if you wanted to take this a further step, you could actually share that with those people. And that would benefit them as well, to know that, oh, you really do appreciate me, or you recognize this in me. And
That's called emotional groceries. Giving them their emotional groceries.
Well, the whole thing about writing down, and even if you're not sharing, I think that changes your attitude enough
definitely.
that you can probably treat them just maybe a little bit better. And so as you were talking about that, it reminded me of some of the stuff we were doing on the posts with improving your relationships, and some of the things we call them relationship do's. So if you ever want to check out our Facebook,
There's
we
a
have
whole series.
a whole series of things to do
Yeah.
to improve your relationship, and a lot of them are easy things, like thinking, what are you grateful for your spouse?
I think whenever like when you get irritated because they left the ketchup out and they're going to put it up later, I just think that I'm grateful for him for these good things that he does, and I just go put the ketchup up and move on with my life.
Yes.
Another thing I've had to work on is learning to be grateful in the moment for whatever the situation is. So it's really easy to be in a situation and think, well, this would be perfect if this one more piece was here, this one more person was here, this one more situation was a little better. And I've had to stop myself and say, wait a minute, this is my life, and I'm wishing it away because I'm wishing for something else.
And this really isn't so bad.
That is not fair, and I need to stop and appreciate and be thankful for what this is.
That is really important.
So
That is a great point, yes.
So in that moment, and I think that's something we can all think about and use and go out with, just that right now I have something to be thankful for, and that's, that I get to work with you four ladies, and you each bring such amazing talents to the Health Council that without any of you, we wouldn't be able to do the work that we do. And so there's just, in each moment, there's something to be thankful for.
Yes. So I had a couple of quotes, but I think this one sort of fits that we might think of for our food for thought, and maybe we'll do two. We can complain because rose bushes have thorns, or we can rejoice because thorns have roses. And that sort of made me, when Annie was talking about her glimmers, and thinking about what is the pretty thing, the good thing, the happy thing that in whatever situation, focus on that little bit of glimmer.
You can even take this is like from a personal experience, like I went through some really hard times helping to take care of my grandparents there at the end. And like at the time, it was like super stressful. It was hard to see like the positive. But like even looking back, it's prepared me to handle, like I get in a situation now where I'm like stressed or like I have to deal with something or figure something out. And I'm like, you know what? I figured some way harder things out in the past. So like that's where I pulled my glimmer from. Or it's like, that's kind of like, thorns have roses. Like, yes, this is a hard situation, but I know how to work through a problem. Yeah. Or like, I know that this is going to get better or lead to a better situation.
Yeah. Well, and I think that just goes back to with the struggle, that everything is a process and it's not always, it's rarely easy.
Yeah.
More what I would say, it's rarely easy. And if it is, then that's something to be thankful for.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's really, it's not easy. And so just to give yourself some freedom, to give yourself a little bit of slack, give yourself some kindness and say, this is okay. I still have something to be thankful for in whatever situation you might be, and find those good things and focus on them, because there's plenty of bad things around you. So just focus on the things that are going to uplift you instead of to drag you down.
Well, I always think of things like if a disaster happens, even a car wreck or whatever, there is always something good. You weren't hurt. Yeah, we have no vehicle, but you weren't hurt.
Yeah.
Or
all the windows in our house were busted out.
but we get new windows.
But it's okay because we weren't sucked out the window.
Yes, that was scary. But anyway, there's always something positive, but there's always somebody else who is facing something worse than us as well. And to realize that it could be so much worse. Or,
Yeah.
and we only have this little struggle. Look at those people over there or that. I mean, we're not in a war. We're not in, our houses aren't being bombed or, all those things that other
Lots
people
of things
have
to look for the
face.
positive in.
Yeah, for sure.
So there's so many things. So looking at it that way helps you maybe be a little more grateful too.
Yeah. I was just thinking about the rose thing, and I don't know, just sometimes you think you see, if you have a rose bush, it's bloomed and then it goes away and then it's going to come back. And so I think
like looking forward to like the positivity,
Yeah.
like you are going to get it again. Like you are going to be handed something wonderful again.
Yeah.
and that it's a season, it's seasonal, and it's not, not a forever situation. So that's why it's important to be thankful when you have the roses.
Yes.
So
Well,
there's seasons of life.
Yeah, I think it's something we sort of need to work with our kids on as well. So the other quote I had, I'll just going to do the second half of this quote, is if you aren't grateful for what you already have, what makes you think you'll be happy with more?
Yeah.
And that makes me think about our young people, and sometimes they don't realize what great things they have. And I know that, we can always say our grandparents probably said the same thing about us, because we all have struggled through different things. But learning to be grateful for what you have, so you can appreciate other things, is important. And you never can be happy if you're just always wanting more.
Yeah.
So that was another thought I had when we were talking about all this. Was
I think that goes right to what I was talking about, in the moment. You need to be grateful in the moment and not think, well, if the situation was different, or if I had this, or if I was in this situation, it would be better. That's not necessarily true. You're probably going to get there and still not be satisfied.
Yeah.
So I think it's easier to have gratitude than to chase satisfaction.
Yes, for sure.
Oh, that's a great quote. We better write that down. Michelle has her own quote
Oh,
here.
no.
We need to make that into a post. So I think this was a very interesting discussion. And
Yeah.
I'm even thinking maybe I should start that journal.
Yeah.
And at least I'm telling my feelings to just myself.
Right?
But I also like the tips you gave about meditating and being grateful that way. And of course, I can do a glimmer, I think.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I like the glimmer.
So
Maybe it's somewhere to start, and then you can work your way into.
yeah. But, just retraining my focus a little bit to be a little more grateful. So I hope our listeners have also found something that they could try in today's discussion. And we want to thank you all for joining us, and be sure to come back for our next episode of Healthy IQ.
And don't forget to follow us at Quake County Health. And if you have any questions or you want to give us some suggestions for ideas and content, you can contact us at healthiqpodcast@gmail.com, and we'd love to hear from you.
Yes.
Special thanks to our guest contributors for this episode: Annie McCauley, Climate and Health Coordinator; Rochelle Moon, Pass Committee. Our host was Brenda Bishop, QCHC Coordinator. Co-host was Joyce Runyon, QCHC County Health Council Assistant Coordinator. Our podcast crew: Executive Producer Brenda Bishop, Director Robert F. Hockaday, Producers Robert F. Hockaday and Joyce Runyon, Editors Robert F. Hockaday and Joyce Runyon. Music provided by David Morris.
This podcast was made possible by a New Mexico Department of Health Better Together grant. Additional information about today's topic will be on the Health IQ blog located on the Quake County Health Council's website at www.qchealthcouncil.org. Be sure to follow the Quake County Health Council on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram at Quake County Health.
This podcast was created solely for educational purposes. It is not intended as a substitute for advice from a healthcare or mental health professional.